Are you doing everything you can to get a good night's sleep? We are in session 2 of our sleep module, and hopefully you have already decided on what your ideal sleep hours are. If not, hurry it up, make a decision as soon as possible. Let me know what that is, and we're going to get on that. So you need an ideal time of 7 to 8 hours. For some people, it's 9, but most people, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because good sleep is so very, very essential to good brain health. And as you age, you may need to start coaxing and priming up that body and that brain to get it together to give you that good night's sleep that you so desperately need. But that's okay, because the good news is, if you are willing to just do a few things that you may have thought were not really necessary, or maybe they weren't necessary when you were younger, but they are now, and they can make all the difference. So there may be some addings to some stuff you need to do, or there may be some tweaking that you need to do, but girl, we're going to get it done. All right, and just don't be impatient. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not an overnight kind of process. In fact, they say, for your sleep, for you to see a lot of positive changes in your sleep, sometimes it takes like 9 or 10 weeks. That's part of why we started doing this first thing as our very first module, because I want you to have all of this time to continue in it. So by the time we end the course, you can see some positive changes already happening. Okay, so we're going to stick with it. We're going to set ourselves up, and we're going to continue it through. So even on the weeks that we don't officially talk primarily about sleep, we're still going to be doing these things. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of options and things that I'm going to give to you. You don't have to do everything. You're going to create your own little toolbox, your own little kit of things that work for you, because we don't want you doing anything that stresses you out or that you hate doing. There's a lot of different options, so you're going to find what works for you, and that's going to become your little set of things to do to encourage good sleep every night in your body. Okay, so we're going to talk first about the prime sleep window, because did you know that there was a best time that your brain has for being most efficient about repairing the things that need to be repaired, about producing the enzymes that need to be working for you to set things up and organize things for the next day. There's a prime window of time that it just knocks it out of the park in terms of getting those things done, and that is from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Those 4 hours is when your brain does its very best work. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take advantage of that. And during those 4 hours, where are you going to be? Sleep in the bed. Not about to go to sleep. Sleep in the bed, because you want to try to maximize all of that time to get the optimal benefit that your brain has to give you. So that means for most of us, we may have to tweak a little bit what our sleep hours are. That's why last week I asked you to, pick an ideal time. Let me know what sleep hours you were having currently, and we're going to come up with an ideal time, what's best for you. So you want 7 to 8 hours, and hopefully you want all 4 of those hours. There really is no reason not to get all those 4 hours unless you're working. You're working if your night shift doesn't allow you to, or if you have to drive home, okay. But that's about the only thing, because you know what? Your sleep is so very, very important. So if you need to change and move some things around to try to get that optimal time. Now, if you do work, or if you don't get home before 10, then we need to talk, because the second best thing to do is to make sure you're getting a 90-minute nap during your day. A 90-minute nap during your day. So for those of you that may be working or can't get home and can't get in the bed at that time or whatever, we'll talk. So let me know who you are so we can talk, and we can do the second best. I do not recommend doing that unless, like I say, you're on the road and you can't possibly get home, or you're in the middle of your job and you can't possibly stop and go to sleep kind of thing. The rest of you, come on, make it happen. Get those prime hours in, okay, whatever you need to tweak. So that means that You may move things around a little bit. Last session, we talked about why sleep was so important, and not just sleep, but why 7 to 8 hours. Some people need 9, but 7 to 8 hours for most of us is so very, very critical. So if you don't know or you forgot, go back and look at that video again so that it can refresh your memory, because this is so important, which is why, like I said, it's our very first module. So let's get that together, okay? Because guess what? If you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep, you are setting yourself up for your brain to malfunction. You don't want your brain malfunction. You want your brain being able to do all that it's there to do. Okay, but here's the good news. You don't have to do all that cold turkey. Like if you typically, a lot of people don't go to bed till 11, some people 12, but 11, let's just say 11. That doesn't mean that I want you to go to bed a whole hour or so earlier the next day. I'm not going to do that to you. It's going to be a process, and we're going to do it in increments. We're going to do it in 15-minute increments. Okay, so let's say your bedtime right now is you go to bed at 11, you get up at 6. Now, you may try to tell me that means you're getting 11 hours sleep. Let's see. 7 hours sleep. Let's see. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 12, 5. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You might want to tell me, 5, 6, sorry. You want to try to tell me that you're getting 7 hours sleep. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to try to tell me you're getting 7 hours of sleep. Sounds like you are, but actually, unless you're one of those people that fall asleep as soon as your head hits the pillow, you're not getting 7 hours of sleep. And do you know what? If you are one of those people that fall asleep as soon as your head hits the pillow, that is actually a sign, and I'm not saying this is what the scientists say, that is a sign that you are not getting enough sleep. Your body is going to sleep so quickly because you are exhausted. And that's not the state you're supposed to be in. You're in need desperately of sleep, and that's not the state you're supposed to be in. They say it's supposed to take you, with a healthy body, it's going to take you 20 to 25 minutes to fall asleep. So if it's taking you an hour, that ain't good either. But if you're falling asleep as soon as you hit that pillow, that's not good either. You know some people that as soon as they sit down on the couch to watch TV, bam, they're out. That's a sign that they're sleep deprived. Kids at school, that as soon as they get back in the room after eating lunch, they're out. That's a sign that you're not getting enough sleep. So we need to tweak that thing and balance that thing, so when it's time for bed, you get in the bed and it takes you 20 to 25 minutes and then you are asleep. So with that in mind, if you don't get into the bed until 11, you're not getting 7 hours of sleep, because it's taking you almost a half hour to fall asleep. That's 6.5 right there. That's if it's taking you 20. If it takes you longer to get to sleep, unless if your head's hitting the pillow and going to sleep, that's telling you right there you need more sleep. So my point is made, I hope. Anyway, so need to think that through a little bit. Also, if you're getting in bed at 11, it's taking you 20, 25 minutes to fall asleep. Your brain wanted to start working at 10, so you've already lost almost an hour and a half of prime productive time that your brain could have had working its best at what it does. It is lost out now, an hour and a half of it, because you waited and got in the bed at 11. Also, I know some of you, I can hear some of you saying right now, you feel fine. You get 7 hours sleep, you go to bed at 11, get up at 6, I feel fine. You may feel fine. I don't think you're lying. You feel fine, but that does not mean that your brain is not undergoing some damage. A friend of mine used to say they were doing something wrong. He said, just because you're doing something wrong doesn't make it right. If you're doing it for 20 years, that doesn't make it right. It just means you've been doing it wrong long. So just because you feel fine when you get up at 6 o'clock doesn't mean that's the best sleep hours for you. It just means that your body is adjusting the best it can to it. Also, how do you know you can't feel even better? How do you know you have the best you out there that can be? You might be settling for something that's mediocre when you could be so much better with just a little bit more sleep, and you don't even realize it. So for those reasons, we're going to take a look at this and make this thing happen. So here's the plan. It's called our lights out goal. Because like I said, it's supposed to take you 20 to 25 minutes to fall asleep. So we're going to work that in with your bedtime thing. And let's say if you wanted to be in bed at 10, we're not saying in bed at 10. What we're actually saying is you want to be asleep at 10 because your brain's not going to start working until you are asleep. So you want to be asleep at 10, so you need to back that thing up. And you have to be in the bed like at 9:30 if you're going to wake up, at the 6 o'clock. So, but like I said, we're not going to do it all in one bite. We're going to break it up into increments. So this is what we would do in that scenario. Since you're used to getting in the bed at 11, the first week we would say, okay, you're going to get in the bed at 10:45. Just 15 minutes earlier, you're going to go to bed, okay? The next week, you're going to go to bed at 10:30. Try that for a week. Stick to that for a week. On week 3, you're going to go to bed at 10:15. And do that next week. 10 o'clock the next week. 9:45. Next week, you've got your 9:30. I hope I did that right anyway. You guys, you mathematicians, check on me. But anyway, you get my point. 9:30. So that's what's going to get you to your 9:30 goal. Get you in the bed, lights out at 9:30. And then you'll be asleep at 10 and you'll get your time. And you might find out, number one, you might wake up early. Since you're going to bed early, you might start waking up earlier. You might end up waking up at 5. And if you feel good, that's fine. Got some things you can do. You can meditate, you can read, you can do whatever you need to do. Or you might find out your body wants to take that time for extra sleep. And you may have thought that you only needed 7, but you may see that you feel even better when you get that 8th one in. As for me, I find my prime time, the best I feel actually, is 8.5 hours sleep. Now I can do 8 and I feel pretty good, but if I do 8.5, I feel wonderfully well. If I do 9, that's not as good as if I do 8.5. I'd rather do 8 than do 9 actually, but 8.5 is my prime when I can just hit it. Okay, so you're going to find some things out when you do that. So we're going to try that with you. Now, you may think you have some challenges because I know that a lot of you like to stay up and watch movies or whatever. Your best show comes on at 10 or whatever the deal is. But we're going to talk about that in a minute because actually that's not going to be an issue. The other one might be your family, your spouse or your kids. You might be doing some stuff. And my answer to that is, I understand that. Hopefully they'll be on board with you and they'll start making some changes with you. But we know that don't always happen. So we're not going to count on that. But what we are going to count on is that you're going to have your priorities straight. And just like we said with the airplane issue, when you're on the airplane and there's an emergency, what do they tell you to do? Put your oxygen mask on first. So in this regard, sleep is critical to your brain health. And so you need to do what you need to do to make sure that your brain stays intact. And in doing that, you are actually helping your family. You are showing them love and concern because you will be able to take care of them when they need their help. And you won't be a burden to them later because you can no longer help yourself. So that is looking out for them as well. So think in that regard and do the things that you need to do. We're going to back it up slowly, so it's not going to be like, jumping in ice water, but we're going to make that happen. Okay, so here are my top 5 non-negotiables. Like I said, you're going to get a list of 30 different things to do, and you're not going to always do all those things. But there are 5 things that you really, 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 really need to incorporate into your routine. Number 1, we've already talked about. Set yourself a sleep schedule that you stick to. Set it and keep it. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, weekends, holidays, vacations. Have your set a set time when you're going to do what? Lights out. going to bed. Okay. And that really is not going to be as hard as you think, because guess what? As you do it, and we're going to be doing it for 10 weeks, as you do it, your body's going to train your body. Your body's going to start asking for it. Just like when you change your eating habits and stuff, your body starts asking for vegetables and asking for water and asking for this. It's going to start asking for sleep. You're going to be sitting up there trying to keep your eyes open with the rest of them when it's past your bedtime, and you need to get yourself in that bed. You're going to be struggling to stay awake. You're going to be thankful to hit that bed because it's time for your sleep. So that's number one. Let's get started on that sleep schedule and let's stick to it. Number two has to do with lights. Okay, has to do with light. And there's three kinds that we're worried about. I shouldn't say worried, that we're concerned about. The first one is our morning sunlight. Critical that you get some morning sunlight, those rays of sun on you. The optimal time is from 6 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. that you go outside, hopefully, outside, and let that sun hit you. Don't stare straight up at the sun, but let the sun hit you, because it's going to reset your clock, letting you know what time you're going to bed that evening. It helps set your schedule for the day and starts so you'll get sleepy at the right time. You need to let the sun hit you to get it started, to reset it. So it's good to get outside. Now, if the weather doesn't permit or whatever, you can, open the shades and open the blinds and all that kind of stuff and get the sunlight in there. But the best thing to do is to get outside just for a few minutes, not for a long time, 10 minutes, not for a long time. So go outside. That's the morning light. Then you need to talk about your evening adjustments. In the evening, the lights that you have on after sunset should not be the same lights that you have been in your house all day long. Okay, so you can use like a dimmer switch. Remember the dimmer lights were popular? I don't know, maybe they are, maybe it's just me. But people were getting dimmer switches and stuff. Well, get one. Dimmer switches on your lamps or whatever, so you can turn that down at least to the 40 watt, get a 40 watt bulb in there, turn the dimmer switch lights on. Better still, get red light bulbs and put those in the rooms where you're going to be in the evening. Or my favorite, salt lamps. I don't know if you guys saw my videos or not, but salt lamps. I'll probably put it in the group so you can see. But anyway, salt lamp. I have 2 Himalayan salt lamps now on each side of our bed. I love them, and it's bright enough for you to see, and it has a dimmer switch on it, so you can raise it, turn it up or turn it down. So those are your evening adjustment lights. And you know what? LED lights and fluorescent lights do give off some blue lighting too, so you still don't want those. You can have your traditional, the old-fashioned light bulb if you want, but if you do, make sure it's 40 watt or less, but you don't want the LED and the fluorescent in the evening. So your evening adjustment for your lights. The other thing is your sleep light. Guess what that is? None. Pitch black. No light. That's what you're striving for, and hopefully that's what all of you can do, because it is wonderful. It is wonderful. The goal is to not be able to see your hand when you hold it in front of your face at night. I love it. Now for that, I had to get blackout curtains because my room would not get pitch black until I got my blackout curtains. And I love my blackout curtains. I got them, of course, Amazon, but I love my blackout curtains. You can get blackout shades too. And I don't know how much yours are going to cost really, because it depends on the side of your window. Like I have a sliding screen, in my bedroom. So it was a whole full length kind of thing. You may just have a window or something, so it's not going to be that. But check it out. Blackout curtains. I love them. And I also had to black out the opening that goes in my bathroom, because it doesn't really have a door there, and it has a sunlight in the bathroom. And so at night, the light was coming in. Now they say that natural moonlight is supposed to be okay for you, but where I live, I have other lighting. Like if you have a street lamp, or if you have the neighbors have their lights on or something, and they were lights, it was just too light for me. I wanted it black, so I covered that up, which was a little challenge. Not the sunlight, I didn't cover that up, but I covered the opening in front of my bathroom. Covered that up and put blackout curtains on my sliding door, and it is wonderful. I love it. Oliver was a little iffy at first. That's my husband, Oliver. But he said he's felt a little claustrophobic, but in a day or two, he's good. He loves it. And in terms of getting up, some of you you can either have a motion light there where it comes on automatically when you get up, you have to go to the restroom or something. I have my salt lamp, so if I have to get up, I can just turn on the dimmer on there, and it lights up a little bit, and I can see my way. Or you can treat it as a brain game, because one of the brain games is using your other senses to get around. So if you're in total darkness and you have to get somewhere, is how well can you maneuver yourself without using your eyes? And that is actually challenging your brain. So you want to do that. You don't want to fall and kill yourself, but that is a brain game that you can do. So you want that light system. You want that morning sunlight. You want the evening light adjustment, and you want pitch black if at all possible. Now, if you have to go to sleep with some kind of light on, you can get a timer, where you set the timer for 25 minutes. So it's going to take you 20 to 25 minutes to fall asleep, and then it's going to come pitch black, but you're not going to know it because you're going to be asleep. Okay, so work that thing out because it's really important. And you might find that when you do those things, there's already a dramatic improvement. So we're talking about setting your schedule. We're talking about the kind of light that you do morning, evening, and at night. Okay, the other thing is exercise. Morning exercise also helps you with your sleep at night. Once again, it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be your major routine, especially if some of you, need to get to work. Just give me 10 or 15 minutes of something, to rev you up, and then you'll be good. You can finish your other routine or whatever later in the day, but get some kind of exercise in there in the morning. Some people prefer evening, and evening is okay, especially if it's before 6. Give yourself like 4 hours before your bedtime to exercise because you'll get revved up too much and it will interfere with your sleep. But it has been shown that it will help your sleep if it's before your 4 hours because it sends your temperature way up and stuff, but then it drops it lower than it was. And as you know, cooler is better when you sleep. And so it drops it lower. So it also can help. A lot of people say when they exercise in the evening, it does help them sleep. And that is true. So figure out what works best for you. Okay? Figure out what works best for you. Most people say that mid-afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock is really not the optimal time to exercise unless that's your only time, but you get the most bang for your buck if it's in the morning or if it's like before 6, right around there. Okay, so that's exercise that you also need. Now here's the biggie. Screens off 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed. Now that's why TV's not going to be a problem for you guys because you're going to be cutting that TV off or leaving the room where the TV is 1 to 2 hours before you go to sleep. So it's not going to be a challenge to watch that movie at 10 o'clock because guess what? You're going to start your sleep routine at 9. Some of you at 8 if you want it to be 2 hours before. Between 8:30 and 9, you're going to cut it off anyway or leave the room anyway. So TV is not going to be your problem. Okay, and that is so very important because that blue light, although it's wonderful for you during the daytime because it perks you up and keeps you alert and all this other kind of stuff, it keeps doing it. And at nighttime, you don't want to be perked up and alert and all this kind of stuff. And so it fights you and it does it helps, it suppresses your melatonin. So you don't want those things happening in the evening and it's going to take that long, 1 to 2 hours for your melatonin to then start working and build itself up if you've been looking at that computer or that TV or that cell phone or that Kindle or that iPad or whatever you're looking at. It has that screen. It's going to take that long for your melatonin to boost itself up again. So you have to have it off. That is so important. I notice the difference if I'm doing something and it's lasting me and I'm at the screen until 9 o'clock. Even though I'm going to have my hour before 10 o'clock, I notice the difference if I stayed on that screen too long. I try to get off those screens by 8, and I just feel different. So I highly recommend that you stick to that, screens off. Like I said, if you can't cut it totally off because your family's going to have a fit, you need to leave and go in the room, go into the bedroom or go into another room where you can have your adjusted lighting on and you can do some other things. Don't go to sleep because you need to give your body time for the melatonin to produce and increase. So don't go to sleep, don't get in the bed, but get some things done under that different lighting. Okay, so we did setting the schedule. We did the 3 types of light that you need: morning sunlight, evening adjusted light, and then pitch black sleep light. Yeah, we did exercise, get some done in the morning. Don't exercise within that 4 hours before you go to bed, before bedtime. Exercise before 6 o'clock, or be finished by 6 o'clock. Screens off 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed. And the last one is nutrition. Okay, regarding nutrition, no caffeine. Most of you already know that. No caffeine before 2 o'clock. Some people can't have caffeine after 12. So, find out who you are, But at least no caffeine. Definitely not after 2 o'clock. Not even in your teas. Not even in your chocolate. Definitely not your coffee. Okay, those kind of things. All right. Also, close that kitchen. Tick a lock on the refrigerator. Yeah, you want to do that at least 3 hours before you go to bed. That is calorie restriction is healthier for your brain. That's a fact. That's researched out. You do not have to eat 24/7. And the sooner you cut that off, the sooner your brain can get that digested, and because it gives directions to your gut, it's your second brain. They work together. Get that stuff digested and work on other things. The other thing you want to do is eat calming or stress relieving foods. We're going to have a list up there in your guides this week. And also, I've sent out some before. You may already have a list or know where one is. Anyway, stress relieving foods, because there are foods that will help produce serotonin, which is your calming hormone in your body. So you want to have those. Especially nice to have those as it's nearing the evening to help you relax. So you want to do that. And if you have to have a snack, because they also say that it's not good to go to bed hungry because that's stressful. If you have to have one because something happened and you didn't get to eat, and then you looked up and it was 7 o'clock and, oh man, I forgot to eat and now I'm going to be starving, whatever. You can have one. Just make sure it's less than 200 calories. And it's going to be a complex carb, like sweet potato. I love sweet potatoes as an example, like sweet potatoes, okay? And it can have a little protein with it all, if you want to, like peanut butter, or if you're going to have peanut butter with celery or sticks, or you can have peanut butter with wheat toast if you do the grain thing. You also going to have yogurt. You can have they want a little bit of calcium too. Then you have the milk, not I'm saying not ice cream. They say ice cream, you have a little bit, but I know you guys just can't have a little bit of ice cream, so we just gonna say not ice cream, cottage cheese, those kind of things, if you must. But the thing is, just a little, because you can't have your brain and your digestive system working overtime when your brain should be taking care of something else. So just a little bit if you have to, so you don't get those cramps, all in your stomach and all that, and stressing out over the hunger. Okay, so that's the nutrition issue. So those are the 5 non-negotiable things you're going to definitely work on. That should be in everybody's toolkit. Now, all the other things, the other 25 things are listed there, you're going to try them. Try those things and see what works and what doesn't work for you. Give it some time, because you may find that you like something you didn't think you were going to like. So you can try all those things and see what works best with you. So for your homework, you have 2 things actually. The first one is your lights out schedule, which I do want to see. So you need to get that to me, either snapshot it and put it in your Facebook group, or send it to me through the phone, or email it to me. Get it to me so I can see what it is, so I can encourage you on those times and know what those times are supposed to be for you. The form is going to be in the guide section in your Facebook group. I'll also be emailing the form to you. And the second thing is to get started on your 30-day sleep routine. So you can have 2 ways to do that. You can just go down the list and try one thing every day and add on 1 or 2 things. Or you can look at it and pick and choose the things you want to do first and second and third and whatever, and do that kind of way. However you want to do it, whatever whatever way you want to do it. Okay, so those are 2 ways you can do it, but try to incorporate those 5 non-essentials as soon as possible, because it will be helpful to you. So good. You may find you see a big difference just in that. Okay, so I hope this has been valuable for you. Can't wait to talk to you. We'll have our live Zoom meeting this Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific time. Come on if you can. If you can't, I'm going to record it so I can send it to you so you can hear what everyone's talking about. And remember that your brain's destiny is in your hands. Talk to you soon.